Welcome back to my Keto Naturopath Kitchen. Today I'm continuing on the theme of summer gatherings, cookouts, barbecues. So I'm making clean keto salsa and clean keto guacamole. They are both delicious. I love them. It's not just for summer because it's great in the fall with all the football parties and tacos, whatever. It's really good. So we're going to start off with the salsa. And in a food processor, this is my small food processor, I'm adding a can of diced tomatoes, and this is fire roasted diced tomatoes, and it's a 14.5-ounce can. Yes, they all used to be 15 ounces. Everything's reducing weights so they don't have to increase prices. 1 can of fire roasted diced tomatoes. I made my tangy barbecue sauce the other day, and I had found a can of diced tomatoes with chilies in it, so a little bit of, probably a little jalapeno. It had a little zing to it. Oh, it was so good. So to that, we add 1/4 of a diced onion. And you say, well, what's 1/4 of a diced onion? And I use red onion, so I weighed it, and it's about 50 grams of onion. So it's diced, going in. That's why I like to weigh things. It's like, well, what's 1/4 of a cup of diced onions? And it's just going to depend on how small you dice it. And to that, we're adding 1/2 of a diced jalapeno. Unfortunately, my jalapenos aren't growing yet, so I had to buy a jalapeno for this. And yes, I include the seeds because that's where all the heat is, and I like the heat. If you don't like the heat, remove the seeds. Then we have a clove of garlic. Since it's in the food processor, things don't have to be too small. A tablespoon of lime juice. Again, all of these you can add more if you like it spicier. You can use less if you don't like it as spicy. And I like a lot of lemon and lime juice, so tablespoon. A teaspoon of cumin, and I love cumin. A teaspoon of salt. And I have 1/2 cup of cilantro. I just went out and picked cilantro from our garden. It's been hot here the past few days. Cilantro doesn't like it when it gets really hot, so cilantro is best in the spring and the fall. What I did was I harvested our cilantro, and if I don't have enough cilantro, I'll use this. I harvested this and dried it in our dehydrator, and oh, it smells so good. But hopefully I'll have enough fresh. And these are the small pieces of cilantro. It's not the big leaves, so it's a little more concentrated in flavor than with the leaves. So, but I love cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, put less in it. I used to hate cilantro. I was the kind of people that, oh, cilantro tastes like soap. But I don't know, something changed, and I cannot get enough cilantro. So we're gonna assume this is good enough. So what you're going to do is you're going to pulse this. Because you still want it a little chunky, so pulse it until you have the consistency that you want. I have not been able to find salsa at the grocery store that did not have sugar in it. Why they need sugar with tomatoes, I don't know. So I had to come up with a way to make my own. And this is delicious. Whoa, look at that. How good. So I'm going to be making the guacamole, but in order to do that, I need to clean out my food processor. So I'll wash it out and I'll be back. So my food processor is washed out, and now I'm making the guacamole. So I have 2 avocados, and I'm just going to scoop out the avocado. I usually make this in my high-speed blender because Carl likes it really smooth. I like it a little more chunky. So today I'm making it in the food processor. To the avocado, we add 1 clove of garlic, depends on your cloves of garlic, whether you use 1, 2, how much you like garlic. 1/4 of a red onion, which again is 50 grams. 1/2 of a jalapeno. Be careful touching the seeds, that's the hot part. 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Tablespoon of lime juice. And I like my guacamole a little tangy, so sometimes I use more lime juice. You're just going to have to taste it to see if it's enough for you. And 1/4 cup of cilantro. So again, using my fresh cilantro. This I'm going to process a little more than the salsa, so I don't have to be worried about how big the cilantro leaves pieces are. I guess I picked more cilantro than I needed. I'll use it for something else. And then just process. All right, so we're going to call this good. I'm going to put it in a bowl, show it to you, then we'll taste. That looks good. So I'm going to clean up this mess a little and then we'll be back to taste it. So I have everything cleared off the table and now it's time to taste. And my favorite way to eat guacamole and salsa is with pork rinds. So I have pork rinds here. I'll dip into the salsa. And it'll probably taste even better once you refrigerate it and leave it in the refrigerator for a while to get all the flavors to mix in. Now it's time for the guacamole. Or, if you want both at the same time, take a little bit of the guacamole, dip it in the salsa. That's perfect. Everyone will love this. Bring it to your next gathering, your next football party. I don't know, do people have baseball parties? Anyway, it's amazing. Try it.